Hello again, YouTube and my lovely followers. Today has been the rain has just been relentless. I tried to go outside to do a few bits that I needed to do. I did some burning of bits and pieces and I fed my birds, but as for cleaning my chickens, I've got all doing my 10,000 steps. So the rain's really held me back today, and I'm not someone who's against rain because obviously the garden needs it, and I like it. I like to hear it from the motorhome, or we've got, you know, I like to hear it on the roof. But anyway, it's made me sit here, have some me time, which I also don't mind. Hello, cat. And I've been going through other people's YouTube, so it gave me an idea actually. While I've got time, dinner is already on the stove, and I figured I could sit here and do 15 things you didn't know about me. Lisa, you probably know it all, so switch off. Just click switch off about there. You probably know it all, so you don't need to watch, right? But for other people, you may be interested, you may not be interested, but I quite liked listening to other people's 15 or things, 10 or 15. Anyway, I could say 25 million things about me because that's me, but anyway, we'll start with this. So 15 things you didn't know about me. I was 17 when I first got pregnant. Obviously that wasn't everybody's idea of fun, and I really thought my mother was going to kick off and make me have an abortion. And in fact she didn't. She told me to go to bed and we'd talk about it in the morning. So shock horror. I think I wrote my first suicide note that night. I still actually have that note because I really thought she was going to make me get rid of my baby and I didn't want to. So anyway, so that number one, I was 17 when I fell pregnant. Number two, I actually always, my dream as a child, my dream job was to be a firefighter. I grew up, bizarrely, my actual father who left when I was 5 was a firefighter in Henley-on-Thames, a retained firefighter. And then my stepfather years later became a retained firefighter. So I don't know what my mother did to marry these men that actually you can't really relax because they're on call. The minute they finish work, they're on call, and they get called out through the night, every dinner, every Christmas lunch, you know, so be it. So anyway, I wanted to join the fire service and I did try. I think my kids were quite small. I was a single mother, and I went through the training process, passed everything with flying colours. And do you want to know what let me down? Because they just bought it in Oxfordshire. They were desperate for retained firefighters. My BMI. So there you go. Because I was fat, I wasn't allowed to be a firefighter, even though I could give them 9 till 3, 5 days a week. Wasn't going to happen. And in fact, just to say it, there was a bodybuilder training alongside me, and he also didn't get in because of his BMI. So it was nothing to do with fitness. It was shit. The BMI was shit. Anyway, that was number whatever. Now my phone's going to keep switching off. You'll have to bear with me. Number 3, I think one of my good qualities, if I can blow my own trumpet for a minute, is I feel I'm really passionate about things that I'm interested in. It's a bit like the mudlarking or I don't know, what else am I? Sewing, you know, when I put my mind to something, I go whole hog. For me, I'm an all or nothing kind of person. There's no shimmying about here, there and everywhere. I'm in or I'm out. It's black and white. It's clear for me. And that's just me. Number 4 is an interesting fact. I fancied my husband when I was about 18, and he was married to my sister's best friend. The mind boggles. I won't go into too much detail, but we didn't have an affair. I did wait for him to get divorced, and yeah, and then kind of things developed from there. But yeah, interesting fact, I guess. I was 18 and I met him, and I knew I liked him then, even though he was married. So there you go. Now he's all mine, all mine. I was a single mother of 2 children at the age of 21. Hard times, but you know, we made it and we got through, me and the kids. Number 6, I had my tonsils removed in my 20s, mid-20s, I think, due to me having quinces. I got tonsillitis quite a lot, and then I remember going to the doctors at one point. I'd been on antibiotics and they said, you need to go straight to hospital. I was like, why? He said, because you've got about 2 millimeters to breathe through. And these 2 quinces, which were the most, when you opened your mouth to have a look, you could normally see white pussy tonsils, right? Mine were like 2 balls inside my throat, and they were green and moldy. Anyway, tonsils came out. That's another fact of my life. Number 7, I worked in a hospital for a few years as a care assistant on a high dependency maternity ward, which made me want to become a midwife. I had to go back to college then, so this was late 30s, mid 30s. I had to go back to college then and do my access to FE, access to higher education. That took me about a year, and then I got in on a degree course, and I actually went to university and I studied to become a midwife, but only for 6 months. I quit at 6 months. That's another whole long story, but anyway, that's a fact. I met some wonderful people, by the way, on my training and during my time at the hospital, some inspiring people. And I saw a lot of shit too, but anyway. I learned to scuba dive when we went on holiday to Bali. My husband and I, we learned to scuba dive. I enjoyed seeing stuff. If you could put me 10 meters under the sea and there were beautiful corals and fish and lovely stuff, and there was no kind of risk factor there, I loved it. I was in my element, and I could sit and watch turtles that were bigger than me, like just face to face to them, and you could kind of, I don't know, pretend you're having a chat, but it wasn't the case. And I had some scary situations where I'm going to say, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, I almost died. One time I came up without Howie. I did my safety stop, but actually I didn't look around properly, and as I came up I just missed the bottom of a boat with my head. And you know, for nights after that I woke up in a cold sweat thinking, shit, I nearly died. I actually nearly died. And another time we were training with 15 meters or 20 meters under the sea, and I had to take my breathing apparatus out. I did it, and I forgot to breathe in or out, one or the other way. So when it come to putting my mask back on, I thought I wasn't going to be able to breathe, and I was 20 feet under. Anyway, so I had some really scary times under there. My husband will say it's probably because I didn't learn properly, and he did the training and then he showed me. But you know, that's life, isn't it? Anyway, it wasn't my favorite thing. I did it because he wanted to have a hobby to do together. So that was something else. Number 9, I used to smoke 20 cigarettes a day. Thank God I've quit that. I would be stinking to hell. And I know my daughter wouldn't want me around my granddaughter, you know, if that was the case. So we lived in Mumbai for a couple of years. We lived in India. We moved from India to Singapore. This was with my husband's job. We moved from India to Singapore. We spent 3 years in Singapore, and then we moved from there to China for nearly 2 years. So I've had a really, really good travel with Howie's job. His job's just been amazing. He works his ass off. He works really, really hard. And I really appreciate that. So I've been kind of following him around the world, doing all sorts of things. And I've had a really, really good time. I can't say I haven't. But I do get that he's nearly ready to retire. He's tired. He's worked nearly 30 years for the same company, and yeah, he's ready to whiz off on the motorhome whenever we can. So yes, so while in India, probably one of my most life-changing events, I guess, I found a volunteer group to work with, and I worked in an orphanage outside Mumbai. It was a 2-hour drive in a place called Asangaon, and I worked there with children, 42 children to be precise, that had HIV. Now, they were the most remarkable children I'd ever met in my entire life, and I'm still in touch with some of them now. One girl who's on my Facebook, if any of you are on my personal Facebook, Shona, her name is, in fact her real name's Sundari, but anyway, she's adopted me as her mum, and she calls me mum. So I'm really blessed for the internet, because it kept us, this technology has kept me in touch with these children that I helped and looked after, and they changed my life more than I could ever change theirs, believe me. It humbled me and my children. I took my children up there. I went on a weekly basis and tried to teach them English, me and another girl, Komal, and anyway, it was just remarkable time then, and I'm grateful to still be in touch with some of them. In China, I volunteered for a foster home called Shining Star, where a lady called Julie actually runs it. And Julie, if you're watching this, big love to you, you know why. I had the pleasure of meeting a young man there who was probably 8 or 9 at the time. His name was Tao Tao. Now known as Tom, and he was born without eyes. Now, he also changed my life. He also, I don't know, made me see things that I never thought I could in people, because without eyes, he doesn't care. He doesn't know he hasn't got eyes. He is the most amazing chap you've ever met in your life. And I'm blessed and grateful again to still be in touch with him. Julie and her husband have adopted him. She ran the foster home and he has a very, very, very special life now. They're about to move to France, but I'm just grateful. It's another fact of my life that Tom is still in it. He calls me his fairy godmother. And when they come to England, we catch up, and you know, I can't wait for them to be in France. That's one of our trips in September, is going to be driving through to pull up curbside so we can go and spend an evening having a wine and a dinner with Tom and his mum and dad. So yeah, he's big love in my life, big love. 13, when I was 11, I dislocated my elbow. I was a bit naughty because I think I hacked a girl on the hockey field, and then she got me back in the break time, and that was my first lesson of karma. So there you go. I didn't hack anybody after that. I couldn't do sports after that for a year, actually. I think I was swimming, which wasn't very nice. Anyway, it was 13. Number 14, my favourite food is Indian. That is what's on the hob right now. I'm cooking a chicken curry madras, I think. I quite like my spices. So does my husband. So yes, yum. Tonight is curry rice and a bit of naan bread and some poppadoms. My number 15 thing you probably didn't know about me, but you might have done through watching my videos, is that I haven't set a goal weight. I didn't feel I needed to. I'm already chuffed with my weight loss. And I know as time goes on, I'll just get happier and happier with it. So I know a lot of people need that in their head and their minds, but I don't. So just to finish on that, considering this is meant to be about weight loss, that I haven't set a goal for that. I just figure I'm going to go with the flow, and you know, I'll give you number 16. That's my little furry love there. We bought her home from China. I actually bought her in China. I won't tell you how much she cost because my husband's eyes watered, and then to get her home from China on an airplane actually cost even more, but she was worth every penny. She's my little shadow. Anyway, guys, there's 15 things about me that you probably didn't know. So if you want to do the same, I'm watching your YouTubes or whatever, or on Instagram, do the same, because I find it all really interesting. On a day like today, what else is there to do, eh? Apart from cook and play on YouTube. Anyway, laters.